All right, guys, we have the Timeless. Been thinking about this lately, been talking to somebody about it, and it's a smooth razor for me. I don't think the Scalloped safety bar here is going to shave me too much different than the solid bar. I think the solid bar is very attractive. Someday I hope to get one of those. This is the 68 gap, and it's their more mild gap that they have. You can see the T68 for Timeless, not for titanium. This is the stainless steel version. This is the barber pole handle. I like it a lot too. Inside it, I'm going to put this Wizamet Spr Iridium Xtr Stnlss. Then the soap we're going to be using is Provence 63. Been on a kick with it lately. I don't know, maybe this is my 8th shave with it, something like that. I want to get about 15 or so I can try to get some good data for the usage. Now, in a way, I'm kind of screwing myself a little bit because I'm trying some face lathering, and one time I think I lathered for about 3 minutes or something like that. So my usage data may not be all that relevant, or at least I could know that it's very aggressive. If I were to settle on a good bowl lather experience with it, I can guarantee it's going to be even more efficient than whatever number I come up with now. All right, this is the, you can see by the label, Excelsior. I don't know why they put that on there, but this is a Semogue brush, and it is the 2000. This funky little kind of shortish handle is actually bigger than you think, and it's got a nice thick knot. So I've had that soaking for about 25 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. I chose it specifically. It's going to have maybe 22 or 23 uses on it now. It's not an old Boar, but it feels very comfortable, and it's kind of a big knot because today is another face lathering day. I don't like face lathering, but maybe that's just because I'm not very good at it or don't have very much experience at it yet. I do love the bowl. I love the consistency of the lather. From my first pass lather to the third or fourth pass, it's the same, and it's wonderful. I get less face irritation from kind of dry soap feeling when I use the bowl instead of when I face. But it's a different skill out there, and someday if I get it right, then maybe number one, I'll be able to speak authoritatively about it. But number two, maybe I'll discover times when I might like that a little better. Who knows? But it's just a skill, and I want to try to get better at it. I definitely have used. Haven't had a lot of luck lately, especially with this PDP. It's a quad milled soap, so it's very hard. I have had it soaking now for several minutes, and it just seems like I'm not getting enough soap on the brush. So a couple things you could change. You could change your load time. You could change your soak time. Soak time makes the top layer softer so that your time is more effective in getting more soap on the brush. If you want to, you could also change your load time, just load for longer. You could also change your brush type, change to something a little stiffer, but my face doesn't like stiffer, so that's not really an option. I want to keep with soft brushes. So that's the kind of journey we're on. I have used recently a thick badger, a dense badger brush, and I also had soft tips. Once I came at it with a very wet badger brush with soft tips, and it looked like I was going to load forever, and I wasn't able to get very much soap on the brush. I guess those soft tips and maybe too much water was getting in the way. So let's just try today. We've got a Boar. Boars are naturally a little bit less soft than the badgers in many cases. This is a very comfortable brush. It's pretty soft anyway, but I think because of the nature of the Boars and just the difference in the tips, it should be able to stir up more lather. Let's just try it out. It's also a reasonably big knot, and so it should be able to hopefully hold more lather to be able to carry through and let me have better lather in the second and third passes. All right, so I've had this guy soaking. Let's pour off the water, and we'll take, let's just see what happens when we kind of Marco this. We're not going to shake the Boar brush. These Boars don't really hold all that much water anyway. Not going to shake it. We're just going to take it to the puck here, go at it, and see what happens. 50 seconds is going to roll around right now, and I'll just start loading, and we'll just watch it. I think I've done this soap long enough to where I might be able to kind of see when I'm, making some good lather. Now already a light foamy lather is coming off that didn't with the big badger. So maybe a more scratchy badger or a two-band badger that doesn't have treated tips that have been bleached, you know, that might be a good way to go. But that's not the comfort that I want for my face. Okay, we're at 33 seconds now. Why don't we just do, this looks like it's being fairly profitable. So why don't we do a 1 minute of loading. Just see where that puts us. Just 10 more seconds. And it's looking pretty good. Pretty favorable. 1 more second, and there we go. Yeah. The Boar, as opposed to a dense badger brush, is going to have more airspace between the bristles. That may mean higher capacity for the lather. You know, who knows? All right, so we've got something to clean up here. Let's just see what today's shave will be like with that kind of load. I did take a shower previously, so my beard is hydrated, but let's go ahead and splash on. Oh, you know what I need to do? I should have put the blade in my razor. Dry off my hands here. Get that done. This guy's not very old. Looks like about 6 uses. I have enjoyed trying him out in so many of my razors, and he's been a good one. Somebody sent me these, and I'm very grateful for that. These, I don't think these are necessarily the current iteration of the Wizamets, but maybe a generation back or something. They look just like a Pole Silver. It says Spr Iridium on it, you know, and all that stuff. Since Pole Silver doesn't actually put their name on the blades, the Wizamets kind of look the same. All right, so here we go. Let's just kind of see what happens. Now this immediately starts off a little nicer than the badger, the big soft badger. It's immediately kind of starting to mix up the lather, not too wet. Of course, I do have my syringe here, and I do believe I will use it to measure how much water I add just out of curiosity. Plus, it makes it really easy to add just a few drops at a time. And who knows, maybe I'll just add a little bit and then, you know, not really spend a lot of time working the water in. Gonna do a little bit of rubbing like that and then start working it. You can see it's starting to build up, especially on my right side right there near my goatee. I'm not saying that face lather is wrong. There are definitely tons of guys who enjoy it and even prefer it. Sometimes it saves me time. But to be honest, it's usually just a few minutes, and I like the perks of the bowl lather so much more that I'm easily persuaded to use those extra minutes and get a lather I like better, shave experience I like better. I've always known and said that one of the big benefits to the face lather is your face is a sensory organ, and you can feel the lather in real time and kind of know when it's going to be ready once you kind of get that experience. See, we do have a little bit of water here leaking out the bottom. That means that's water not being used to make lather. That's water that's basically been wasted. Now, I often run out of lather, so when I have bowl lather and I rake the excess off my neck, I just throw it down the drain, but I feel like I have to conserve it with the face lathering. So I ended up putting about 1 teaspoon of water into the brush, and it just started to feel like enough. It definitely doesn't feel like a luxurious lather. Let's just go with it anyway. Could be that I just need to load more. This is a wonderful razor that is often so smooth for me. My width of grain for my cheeks is this direction here, just north to south. If you're new to wet shaving, that's not always the case. Some people's cheeks go to the side, and so width of grain for them is going to be to the side. And there we go, a nice clean feeling, good glide. So I mean the soap is doing its job, that's for sure. And rinse time. All right, second pass now. Definitely looks like we'll have enough lather to do a second pass, but it definitely doesn't look like it's going to be super enjoyable. Kind of washed out. So back we go to the puck. Let's do 5 swirls. I felt more like 10 once I got into it. If we swirl too much on the puck, then we end up having to go back and add more water. That sort of thing. Looks like I'll need to do that. Let's do another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And each brush might be different. If you want to just add a little bit of soap, you know, if you've got a really scratchy brush, maybe 5 or 7 is something. Now you can see it is starting to get a little better. My face was definitely kind of over wet just now, and so I knew as long as I took it easy with the soap loading and didn't load too much, I didn't think I would have to bring back in some water. Yeah, there we go. Because I think if you have to kind of reformulate like this, you lose any advantage you have with the speed of face lathering. And this is fairly comfortable. I like how I'm not, as I was adding water the other day to the declaration brush, it was just kind of flinging everywhere. And yeah, this is a little messy, but at least it's not soapy messy. I mean, just a few dots. That's not really a big deal, tiny dots. But I was getting big chunks of wasted lather thrown all over the room, and something about my personality just didn't like my hard work going for nothing. And wasted time. The time I spent building that lather was for nothing. Cross grain now on my cheeks. I am having a nice slide, a nice glide with the razor. And it gets even smoother with the second pass because we've already removed a good bit of the stubble. Majority of it, in fact, is my guess. And rinse. Well, it looks like with the face lathering, if you're trying to get it to be a good time saver for you, then it might take some practice to get that water ratio and the soap load ratio just right. And so I definitely could see how you would want to keep the same soap base. I mean, you could vary the soap scents if you wanted to. And again, if it's kind of thin, I mean, it's definitely thin. I wish it was a little stronger. I don't know that it is too wet. Let's try to just like 6 strokes there. If we thicken it up too much, it's going to need some water. So it may take some skill for you to be able to kind of get the ratios right, so that you don't spend a ton of time making it too soapy, then making it too wet, then making it too soapy. that sort of thing. I do feel like this one now is feeling a little dry. This definitely does not feel luxurious on my face. Of course, even with bowl lathering, this soap wasn't all that luxurious feeling. So let's be fair. But it's a good serviceable soap. I've seen it around for 10 bucks for the puck. Pretty sure it's going to last you about a year and a half with, as long as you don't just go nuts and waste a ton of it. And in that case, and I love the scent. I'm a big fan of this scent. And so I think it's got its merits. But richness of lather is not really one of them. This razor holds the blade really closely to the edge, and so you don't get a lot of blade audio, which I do like, because that means consistency. That means a good shave without that vibration. Sound equals vibration. So we don't have that vibration moving across the skin. And so I think that usually will mean good things for the comfort of the shave. Let's check out the nice. I think I just see tips. I don't think I see any with length on them, which is exceptional for me. And to have that level of closeness with that high level of comfort as well is just a wonderful shave experience, something that I often am chasing. Well, I think I had to go back to the puck 3 different times after the initial load. So maybe that's a 20 to 30 seconds more load time. So I loaded for a full minute first, so almost a minute and a half of loading is my guess. If I'd have done that at first, maybe that would have worked for the whole time. But here's the thing, so much wasted concentrate goes down the drain on your first pass. I got a feeling my subsequent passes I would have needed more anyway. But, as long as you don't have to keep mixing the water and the soap, if you can keep that brush really wet so it always has that water in there, it's not all that inconvenient to just go back to the soap like I did. I am definitely ahead of the time schedule than my usual bowl lathering technique. So, if you had to that way, but to be honest, it's lost its enjoyment really for me as a ritual. I would probably still, if this was the way I chose to lather, I would still shave this way with this type of equipment. But I tell you what, I probably wouldn't really have as many soaps or as many razors, because I just don't derive as much enjoyment from it as when I bowl lather. I can see the lather developing, and I just have. This is basically a make-do lather, where when I bowl lather, I have a luxurious, enjoy it kind of lather, and so that's an interesting thought. But it's also good to know, just in case your schedule prevents you from having a certain technique. If you need a fast technique, like I bet if I was really in a hurry, I could just do 2 passes. What I just did now was 3, and I got a good shave, a great shave actually, but I could have cut it off at 2 and had a shave adequate for my work and save some time. So sometimes it's nice to know what your shave could be if you were in a big hurry, so that you could still get a good shave and have less when you have less time. All right, well, I did add a little bit more water to it, and so we're looking at 1 1/4 teaspoons of water added to that lather. And with this brush, I did pull it up out of the soak cup, and I let the water drip out naturally, but I didn't do any shaking or anything like that. So whatever water was in this brush, and obviously you may or may not be able to duplicate that, So with the Boar brushes, especially ones that are young, really with all brushes, I come and strop them on the towel, get that kind of standing water off of them, and so now we can set them this way or this way, and it doesn't matter. They will dry. And we're looking with this Boar, we're looking for these tips to split. Let's see if we can have any. Some of these have not, and this is still a comfortable brush, even though some have not split. There are some that have. But yeah, so not bad. It was not a bad shave. It just wasn't as good as it usually is with the bowl. And you end up using more soap because so much is wasted on that first pass. All right. Well, not bad. Not bad. I love the scent. Let's see what post shave we have. Warm, spicy is kind of the idea. Maybe a little bit of woodiness, but it's really masked by the spiciness. Is the general idea of the number 63 from Provence. I love it. Let's add a little bit of orange to it. I've got this. It's really kind of more of a milk Sapone de Paolo. I got it on this amazing deal. I don't know if it's expired yet or what. Let's just see. It's definitely more of a milk than and that caught me by surprise. The first time I used it. Has a decent little orange scent. And there we go. Yeah, I think the scent's starting to kind of fade on this one. We do see some, white lines and stuff on my face, but I'm about to go to bed, and those will absorb in just a few minutes. All right. Well, not bad. Not bad. Yeah, the orange is still there. Well, we might keep it around. Okay, so anything else to report? The Timeless and the Wizamet were a terrific match. I did feel the blade just a hair, but it was just so consistent. Very enjoyable. Like this brush, it performed to the task. Obviously not as soft as a Badger. And with this not having all that rich of a lather, it did not feel as comfortable as it usually is when I kind of have a more luxurious lather. All right. Well, there we go. I'm glad I got to try the Boar brush with the PDP. And like I said, PDP is not meant to be, at least in my testing so far, not really one for luxury. I've even mixed it up pretty rich as a bowl lather. And while it was a little better, it never really got to be kind of dense and creamy. It's a vegan soap, and so it doesn't have that tallow to come in there and help out with that kind of task. I just don't think it's meant to be that kind of soap. It's been around for a long time. And so I don't think it's meant to have those post-shave characteristics like a lot of the American Cropes are having right now with the new bases. But I think it's supposed to excel at a wonderful scent, long-lasting tub of soap, high number of shaves per jar. That's a huge benefit with this guy, and low price point. And I think that in those three areas where I believe it's meant to excel, it excels in a big way. So I think it's a good hit, good positive, nice soap. All right. Well, it was a fun little experiment. I had it written down to try with a nice Boar, just a normal face lather, and see how everything went down. So we've done that. I don't know that I have any more PDP 63 things in specific tests in mind. And so what I think I'll do for the next few PDP tests, I'll just have a kind of a normal bowl lather and see if I can just nail down a good formula for a bowl lather. And then at some point we'll hit 15 or something uses, and I'll make a mark there as far as the weight, and I'll be able to see how much of that soap I've used in this many uses. All right, well, this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. I sure hope there's been something here that's been good for you. You take care. Good night.